Welcome to the Paige Trippin' Podcast. I'm Paige, the nervous system coach, mom of four, and the creator of emotional fire drills. This is your safe space to unlearn the pressure, reconnect to your body, and remember who you are underneath it all. We're not stuck, we're just dysregulated. Let's trip. Welcome back to the Paige Trippin' Podcast. I'm Paige Tripp, and let's get trippin'. So happy Mother's Day, first and foremost, for any mothers listening or anybody who just is motherly. Happy Mother's Day. We are here and the Paige Trippin' Podcast, and we are all about unlearning. So let's just dive into a little unlearning that happened for me this week. And it was the first time that I fully have allowed myself to break free from what I like to call societal conditioning of Mother's Day. Well, here we go. So Mother's Day, when you become a mother, you still have to take care of your mother and you still have to do all of these things outside of yourself. And for the first Mother's Day of my entire 12-year journey of Mother's Day, I prioritized me. I did not plan anything that was not for me. I saw my mom. I made sure that I knew, kind of what her plans were, and she was with my sister. So I was able to see her on Mother's Day. I celebrated her on Friday. I gave her gifts, and I saw my mother-in-law, and I saw my sister, and I was like, okay, I got to see everybody. And I want them to do what they want to do on Mother's Day. I don't want them to feel like the obligation to come be with me or see me or whatever. But I wanted to get in my yard. I want to finish planting my flower beds. I wanted to have a slow day. And that's what I did. And was it perfect? Not always. There was moments when my kids were fighting. There was moments when I was like pressuring myself, like, hey, you should work out today. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to. Like, I'm working out in the yard, I'm moving my body. And I get to do what I want to do today. Like every other day of my life, even on Mother's Day, I am always giving to my family. And that's a beautiful thing. And I'm not complaining in any way, shape, or form. But I'm always giving of myself. And for one day, society allows me to be selfish. So why am I not being selfish? And I just was like, okay, that's it. My one daughter didn't really want to do anything. She was just kind of chilling. I was like, okay, it's her Sunday. Why am I going to force her to celebrate Mother's Day with me? I'm not going to do that, because every day of her life, she's with her mother. So if she doesn't want to, that's fine. She doesn't owe me anything. And that's the biggest belief that we have in Mother's Day is our children, our families, they owe us something because we're always giving. But when we get stuck in that mindset of I'm always giving to others, then we become bitter, right? We become resentful when they don't meet our expectations for that day. And often we don't even tell our loved ones what our expectations are that day, because we then feel guilty for feeling selfish, right? So it is a very, very interesting dynamic when you become a mother and you're looking at Mother's Day and you're sharing this idea with other people. You're like, there is so much here to unpack that society has put on us, that we put on ourselves, that is just ingrained in us as mothers, especially if you're a mother like I have been for so long, who has been codependent and a people pleaser and really just never owning her worth and never allowing herself to be what she wants to be and show up how she wants to show up. I know I'm talking in third person, it's very weird, but that version of me has built up so much anger and resentment because I've been trying to be somebody that is not just, it is a piece of me, but it is not the only me, right? So by me saying, this is what I want, this is what I need, then that's me owning my worth. And it's okay if nobody shows up, but I can provide myself what I need and then open to receive from others. So we're going to break this down a little bit more in the form of an emotional fire drill. So obviously I'm the author and founder of Emotional Fire Drills, which is simply a 5-step program that can be implemented in a moment that you break down a belief of unlearning, and you find safety in it. So I'll give you an example that came up. So I spent money on myself this Mother's Day, not this Mother's Day, but like the week before, on myself. And I felt like, well, that was a lot of money I spent for myself. Like, we have some limiting beliefs around money. So I had to check myself. But as I was getting ready to take my kids somewhere, my husband said, "Hey, I'm going to run out with Maddie, my oldest, and I'm going to get you something for Mother's Day. We're going to wrap up some stuff for you." And I was like, "No, don't do that. There's the limiting belief. You're not worthy of someone spoiling you." So I was like, "Please don't buy me anything. I just spent a lot of money on myself and you do so much for me already. I really don't want anything." And I stopped and I caught myself. That's the first step. Like, one, I vented out what I was feeling. I caught myself. I paused, right? I stopped and I was like, oh, there's the limiting belief. I'm not worthy of someone giving to me. I'm not worthy to receive. And then I caught myself. I took a breath and I said, "I'm sorry that I am denying you the opportunity to show your love and affection for me through gifts. I know that that's what you enjoy." And so I apologized in the moment. I asked for forgiveness. And then I found the new hope. I said, it is not kind of me, and it is not my responsibility to stop you from spending money that you feel you would like to do. I said, I'm denying you an opportunity of showing your love, and that was rude of me. I'm sorry. I will be so appreciative of whatever it is that you give me, and I love you. And he's like, "Oh, stop, get out of here." And it was a beautiful moment because I was able in that moment, I know it sounds like a lot, but in a span of 2 minutes, not even 2 minutes, maybe 1 minute, I was able to quickly implement my fire drills without even thinking, without even moving. Now, it's been 3 years since I've written emotional fire drills. I think it's been a year since I published it. And I've been implementing this daily, and it has now become second nature to me. And it is really, truly so simple to implement into your daily lives. Obviously, there's way more involved than I just said. And when you first start, it's a little bit more tedious because with any life change, you must implement planning and strategy in order to drastically change the course of your life. We cannot just think our way out of any of the mental health or mental daily struggles because it is a physical thing. It is ingrained in your body. And so often I find myself catching my inner self having this dialogue of, why me? Why am I sharing this message? I'm not a mental health facilitator. And the why is really, I lived this. I was the mother who was drowning in postpartum depression. No doctors, no therapists were hearing me. They were just quick to put me on medication. They weren't looking at the root cause of what was causing me to feel this way. They were looking at the symptoms, and they were masking my symptoms. And it took me years of research and study and believing in myself and knowing that this was not me, the mom who was yelling at her kids, being scary mommy, the mom who was crying every day, who was finding herself stuck in yelling and battles with her children. This was not me. And so why me? Why would you even bother hearing my voice? It's because I have been where you are. If you are a mom or a dad who is sitting here, or even just a person who's trying to reparent yourself, you're sitting here thinking, nothing's working. I've done therapy for years. I've done medication. I've taken medications for years. I've done all the self-help books. I know I've been there. I've done it too. And I will tell you, when there is a step-by-step strategy, when it is very clear what works, and you find what works for you, everything becomes simple. And why would you listen to me? One, I'm an educator. So my job is to educate people. So I take my lessons, I figure out what I've learned, and I break it down into simple steps for you. And why now, right? Like, why now give this information to people? My life's not perfect, so why now? Well, because life is never going to be perfect, and this is urgent. If we do not start working on our mental health with our nervous system, the statistics of suicide rates are going to drastically increase like they have over the past several years, especially in young women. And so to me, it is urgent. I cannot, no matter how uncomfortable, I cannot stay silent anymore because I have navigated this. I have been the girl sitting on, well, the woman sitting in the bathroom crying while her kids are playing, trying to stop the suicidal thoughts that I was having, trying to fight to stay alive so that my children had a mother, trying to fight because I knew that there was something I was missing. There was a key here that nobody was sharing with me, and I didn't know why. And then when I learned it, I became so frustrated and angry with our society that we have this knowledge, and why are we not giving this? Especially when we know that our nervous system is developed from ages 0 to 7. Why are educators not implementing this into SEL? Why are we not learning about our nervous system? Why are we not implementing mindfulness techniques? Why are we not teaching them how to navigate their inner emotional world when that is the driving force of how they show up in the world? I don't care if they are the Einsteins of our world. If they don't know themselves, if they don't know their stress response, they don't know their nervous system, they don't know how to navigate an emotional fire, they are going to burn within. And whether they have, there's several different types of ways people burn from within. They either blow up at people or they blow up at themselves. And either one, something terrible happens all the time. And so why now? Because it is urgent. We are seeing such an increase in violence and hate and anger in our world and self-hatred. And even though there is an influx of self-help and self-love avenues, all of these avenues that I've explored are missing the key ingredient, and that's the nervous system, because it's run subconsciously. And if we do not pair that with our mindset work, we are going to fail as a society. 80% of all we experience comes from our nervous system because it is through our senses. It is through our outer experience that leads to our inner experience. And if we don't know how to navigate and filter that with ease and regulation, we are going to struggle. 95% of our thoughts are repeated, which means that daily we only have 5% chance of new thoughts, 5% new thoughts, and only 20% chance of change. If we are focusing only on the mind, we have 25% chance of change. But if you integrate it into your body with your nervous system, you have increased your odds by 80%. That is insane. 80% change if you integrate your body work with your body work. That's a little sassy. That's not what I meant. Dirty mind. When you integrate somatic movement, nervous system work, that's what I mean by body work, ladies and gentlemen. With your mindset work, you are increasing your odds by 80%. That is a huge 95%, if I'm doing my math right. Maybe not. I'm terrible at math, so don't mind me. That is a huge change. I think it's 105% if we add 5% new thoughts, 20% mindset work, and then 80% nervous system work. Yeah, that's 105%. That's more than 100. Woo, extra credit. Go me, math. Anyways, yes, that's an inner belief of mine. I'm terrible at math. It's been a story of mine since I was little. Anyways, urgency here, people. We have an urgent task here. If we simply start implementing emotional fire drills in school and in our homes, our world is going to be so much more calm and regulated and empowered. And it doesn't mean we don't have anger, and it doesn't mean we don't have frustration or sadness or bad things that happen. We do. That's part of life. But we have a strategy that helps us navigate it with ease and grace and empowerment and fun, right? Like, we don't have to think as much. We just get to implement this into our life. And I've heard several teachers that I've talked to say things like, we don't want to implement another thing. What? All of you teachers are stressed out. All of your students are lashing out. How? Like you have no problem implementing active shooter fire drills or actual fire drills, but you don't want to help a child or yourself navigate an emotional fire that is going to, one, impact your test scores that obviously schools care so much about. We want test scores to be high. Well, good news. They will be high if you do emotional fire drills. Why? Because your students will be working with a logical mind, not their amygdala, which is fight or flight, which is not meant to have long-term memory. It is meant to shut down areas of your body that are not necessary to fight or flee or fawn, right? So we have these students who are coming in from a long night at home, whether they live in a great home or not, no matter what they're experiencing, these children are experiencing stress in some form, and then they're coming to school and we're like, okay, everybody sit down and learn for 8 hours a day, 6 to 8 hours, like just sit in this desk. And you're like, what are you talking about? Like, I never understood it. It made my mind feel so uncomfortable as I became a teacher, because I was like, as a student, I was like, this is not right. We shouldn't be sitting in desks all day. Teachers are just bossing us around. We're not actually learning. I don't remember half the things I did in school. It makes no sense to me. And when I became an educator, then I started to feel stressed because everyone's like worried about test scores and grades. And I was like, whoa, I should be running the education department because you guys don't understand kids. You've lost your innocence. You lost your childlike wonder. Children are not meant to sit in a desk all day. Children are not meant to learn by listening. They're meant to learn by playing and doing. That is how their mind works. Until the age of 21, it's all about them. So let's make education about them, because they're the ones who have to learn it. And clearly in America, at least, I can't talk for any other country because I'm not quite sure, but at least in America, our education system is not doing so great. If you watch some videos on TikTok and YouTube, my kids showing me videos of people, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what are you learning? Like, I'm not going to claim to be the most educated human in the world, because God knows that's not true. However, as an adult, I'm like, wow, I've learned more as an adult than I did in my education system. Even as a teacher, I didn't learn enough in my education. Like, I don't think my teacher education had prepped me for what the heck I was walking into on day one. I had to learn by doing. And if we don't start learning by doing, learning by starting and teaching children from 0 to 7 about themselves, how their mind works, how their body works, obviously within reason, because they're 0 to 7, and there's ways to do this without making it boring and stupid. But we are going to have a bigger problem, because the attention span's 10 times shorter. Everything is just different than when we grew up. I'm in my upper 30s, so it is a different world. And it just blows my mind that we have these structures in place that are not actually meant to help kids. They're actually keeping kids stuck. They're keeping educators less inspired. So let's shake shit up and let's start having some more fun and implement emotional fire drills. And if you are an educator or a parent and you are listening to this and you're like, I want this in my kid's school, reach out to me. My email is pagetrippin1@gmail.com, or you can also email me at my business account, which is themejourneys1@gmail.com, and I'll put that in the show notes. And let's get talking. I could do virtual events for you at your school or in your mother's groups or wherever it is that you're like, I need this in my business or I need this in my life some way. Reach out. I offer private coaching, group coaching, and I offer a virtual self-paced course as well that's going to be launching by next month. So if you are interested, this is all for you. I love this work. This is my heart's mission. And so I just want you all to know I've been there, I've struggled, and you don't have to struggle forever. And I'm not going to tell you that this is a magic pill, you pop it and your life's going to be great, because that's bullshit. But it is going to enhance your life. You are going to feel more in control every single day. Within 7 days of doing nervous system work, you feel less stress. It doesn't mean that your inner thoughts are going to be drastically changed, because I said 5% of all your thoughts are new. So that you're kind of remembering that if we don't get this in between 0 and 7, we are fighting now with resistance, because 95% of our thoughts are repeated. So we are chopping down the roots and we are rebuilding. So it takes a little while, but I promise you, if you show up daily and you continue to do this work, you are going to see change. And I'm going to leave this here with one simple proof. I was worried to share this work with the world, because I was like, oh my God, I'm not a perfect person. How can I share this work if I'm still dysregulated? And I was like, holy crap, I'm dysregulated because I'm a human. And dysregulation is not wrong. We are going to get dysregulated, right? When our kids are screaming at us forever and people are touching us and we're overstimulated, of course we're going to get dysregulated, and we're going to be a human, and we're going to say, stop it, don't pull on mommy. And then we now have tools to regulate ourselves and to show and model our children like anger and frustration are not wrong. This is how we handle anger and frustration. This is how we reconnect. This is how we mend if something goes wrong. This is how we show up. And a perfect example of this was for myself. I gave my daughter something that had her food allergy in it, and I thought, oh my God, I just killed my child. Like, horrible mother, right? My 95% of negative thoughts came in. Everything, you're always messing everything up. You're a terrible mother. All of these things flooded my eyes, and I just kept thinking, I'm going to wake up in the morning, my child's going to be dead. I'm just terrible. I went in the kitchen after putting her to bed, giving her medicine, checking on her, setting up monitors to make sure I could watch her, and I was like, okay. And I had a panic attack for like a minute. I let myself cry it out. I let myself hyperventilate if I needed to. I let myself feel what was there. Like, yes, I feel like a bad mom. Yes, I did this. Yes, I did this. And I went through it. And within 2 to 3 minutes, I was back to a regulated state, even though I was still emotional, because any parent or person would be if they knew that their child had ingested something that actually can kill them. And I was empowered. I was like, okay, I feel this now. That's enough of me. What do I need to do to make sure that I am keeping my child alive today? I got on the phone. I called my doctor. I called her doctor. And then I committed. I said, all right, I'm sleeping next to her all night. And that's what I did. We slept in the same bed, and I watched her all night. Throughout the night, I was taking pulse ox to make sure her oxygen levels were good. I was putting my hand on her chest to make sure she was breathing. Every so many hours, I'd wake her up and give her some more Benadryl. And my doctor had suggested like upping the dosage. So we did Zyrtec, which is 24 hours. And then every so many hours, I would give her Benadryl, just add it. Because she ingested the allergen, to make sure that she wouldn't need her EpiPen, and that we gave her the best possible chance, if she needed her EpiPen, that her body was still going to be fighting. And so I did all of it. Was I scared shitless? Absolutely. Did I sleep well? Absolutely not. Was I dysregulated because I didn't get enough sleep? 100%. For 3 days I did this because you can have allergy responses even up to 24 to 48 hours after consuming a food allergen. And so I felt like shit, but I also felt so empowered and proud of myself that I was able to work through this horrible belief that I would kill my child, that I was a terrible mother for making a mistake. And within 2 to 3 minutes, that thought never came back in my head. And that is the power of emotional fire drills. It is not that you won't ever feel bad again. It is that you will feel empowered through those things, and you will rewire those thoughts so that even when those thoughts arise, you're like, yeah, that feels like shit. And I'm a badass parent. I'm an awesome freaking person who made a mistake. And here's a mantra. I'm going to leave you with this mantra that you can use with your kids and yourself when mistakes occur, because they will, or quote unquote bad behavior happens. I have my kids repeat this 3 times until I start to see a smile, and I repeat this until I start to see a smile or change in my behavior. And I take a deep breath, and I close my eyes, and put my hand on my heart, and one on my belly, and I say, I made a mistake. I'm still a good person, and I am deeply loved, or I love myself. Or I make my kids say, first they say, I made a mistake. I'm still a good girl, and my mommy and daddy always love me. And they say that 3 times, and then I make them say it again. I made a mistake. I'm still a great girl, and I love myself. And they know that even if they make a mistake, they get to love themselves, and we will always love them. And it just is so affirming. And when you do it for yourself too, it's like, ooh, I can still love myself. Even though I messed up, I am worthy of love. I'm worthy of this work. I'm worthy of showing up for myself. And I am just here to amp you up and let you know perfection is a myth. You are a badass, and it is time for you to own yourself, learn yourself, and know that you can do this, and so can your children, and that you don't have to worry about getting it perfect, because this work is not about perfection. It is meant to be messy. It's meant to be real, because we are humans and we're messy. And on that note, I am sending you off knowing that I'm about to go and do my own regulation, because I have a lot coming up for me in the past week, and it's time for me to work on myself and for you to go and know that you're empowered. If you are ready to dive in to your own emotional fire drills, you can grab my workbook. It's $17.99. It's a digital workbook, or you can grab it on Amazon. I believe it's still up on Amazon. I think I might have taken it down a while ago, but I will double check for the physical copy. And if you are ready and you're like, I don't want the book, I want to work with you because you are inspiring and you're going to be my biggest cheerleader, because I am, and you're ready to dive in, we can do private or group coaching. Private coaching, you can jump right in. I'm starting for the summer, 5 new spots open. So grab those before they're gone. And if you leave a review of my podcast and you screenshot it and send it to me on Instagram at Paige Trippin, or you email it to me at paigetrippin1@gmail.com. Again, this will be in the show notes. Then I will give you 30% off private coaching or group coaching. And we will get you started on your 8-week journey to being emotionally secure and knowing exactly what to do in all in moments of your life, and walk away with a framework that you can use for the rest of your life, because we want you to be empowered. I am making this program so that you are not dependent upon me, but you are empowered in you. And that is the difference with my coaching than the things that you're going to see outside of you. There's always something more you can add to this. I want you to go and be empowered. I want you to rock it. I want you to walk away and say, I know exactly what to do, because this is such an easy system. Thank you so much. And on that note, I love you. Enjoy this podcast episode. Leave a review. Share it with someone who would be empowered, or an educator who could use emotional fire drills, because I'm ready to bring it to schools. And enjoy your day. And to all you moms, again, happy Mother's Day. Sending you all so much love. Don't forget, keep on tripping, because life's not about perfection. You made it through another episode of the Paige Trippin' podcast, and I'm so damn proud of you. Remember, we're not stuck. We're just dysregulated, and you don't have to figure it all out alone. If you're ready to take this work deeper, to actually feel safe in your body, move through stress without spiraling, and build real nervous system strength, I'd love to support you. You can work with me one-on-one, join my group coaching program, or dive into my online membership at your own pace. Just head to the link in the show notes, or find me on Instagram at Paige Trippin. Your body's ready. Your power's not gone. It's just been waiting. That's it for this episode. Keep tripping, and I'll see you next time.